brand new
resistance.
virus. What's
Other problems around that.
happening?
One of
What's
which is that bacteria
happening?
become resistant to
What's
the
up with
viruses
that?
as well, not just the antibiotics. So by generating
AI
new
created
versions
a
of
virus?
you can get around
A
that
virus?
resistance.
What's
I have
up
to say,
with
when I
that,
read
my
this, I
lovies?
thought, yeah, really, you're actually just hanging
AI
this
created
research,
virus.
this piece of study on that hook. Really, they've done this, I think, because they could. This is an important proof of principle. And as AI gets more capable, you might expect it to be able to tailor or engineer other forms of life.
So what about the risks? Well, concerns have already been raised that the same technology could be used maliciously.
AI
to create
designed
new diseases.
viruses.
Here's
What
Simon Clark
are
again.
the
Study
concerns?
is not a risk to human health. It's important to stress that. But it does show that, in theory, it is possible to generate synthetic forms of life, forms of viruses which don't exist in nature, and therefore that in itself could present a risk to human health. We should say that the AI models that they use
AI about to wipe us out.
There's nothing to stop
It's
somebody
about
coming
to
up
be
with a
over.
different AI model that potentially could. In this country, that there are all sorts of protections and regulations for doing studies like this, and there would be in the United States too. But of course, if a bad actor,
Hello.
then they wouldn't really worry themselves about the normal health and safety rules that control what people like me do.
Finally, let's look at the wider impact of artificial intelligence on healthcare. Here again,
Artificial intelligence.
The more practical tools are not like this. So this is kind of like the very cutting edge. No one's entirely sure where this technology is going to go. The grand vision of this kind of designing biology in a computer that could then be replicated in the real world, but isn't actually something that naturally exists in nature. That could open up new possibilities for new drug treatments.
We are in the matrix.
Viruses that infect bacteria.
In the matrix, I
treat
say.
Bacterial infections, but it's a little bit more mundane in terms of how AI at the moment is being used in most of healthcare. So it's things like transcribing doctor's notes and providing summaries to make.
So using AI to create this virus, although it's in the digital world, it's possibly, in theory, looking out to see how that can impact human health in the near future, I'd say. Very interesting and reason for concern with AI having the potential to create viruses that aren't in existence in natural nature.
Managed to do, but how big a deal is it? Our health correspondent James Gallagher assesses the significance of the research.
This is a real step up in the power of what AI has been able to do in this kind of field. So we've already seen generative artificial intelligence tools being used to come up with designs for new antibiotics and for new vaccines, whereas this is looking at the whole genetic code, the entire genome of viruses, generating those in a computer. And the way that...
So they're able to, in a computer, generate viruses based on the genome system.
Was done is that scientists were trying to develop new types of a virus called phage, and what they do is they infect bacteria, so that there's no risk. You don't need to be terrified. There's no risk to human beings. They infect bacteria.
At this point, there's no risk to humans, yeah? No risk to humans at this point.
They did was they got the AI to generate the genetic code, suggested genetic codes, then the scientists picked 300 that they thought were the most promising, test those in the laboratory, so they actually then made those viruses as designed by the AI, and they found that 16 of those were able to...
So they made the viruses as designed by the AI in the lab.
Fully function in the laboratory, so they were infecting bacteria, they were replicating inside those bacteria, and that's the first time this has been done.
Well, the breakthrough has been labelled a very significant turning point in science that could unlock a new era for treating disease. But experts have also warned AI-designed viruses raise urgent safety and security concerns. Well, let's start with the benefit Here's Dr. Simon Clark, a microbiologist from the University of Reading.
So some people have suggested that you could use these types of viruses, which attack
Interesting,
bacteria,
right?
to wipe out, to kill bacteria that are causing infections that are resistant to antibiotics. So it's potentially a novel strategy for dealing with antibiotic resistance. There are all sorts of other problems around that. One of which is that bacteria become resistant to the viruses as well, not just the antibiotics.
Yeah.
So by generating new versions of virus, you can get around that resistance. I have to say, when I read this, I thought, yeah, really, you're actually just hanging this research, this piece of study on that hook. Really, they've done this, I think, because they could. This is an important proof of principle. And as AI gets more capable, you might expect it to be able to tailor or engineer other forms of life.
So what about the risks? Well, concerns have already been raised.
Concerns for humans, humanity. AI create viruses that don't exist naturally. They can then use that data to replicate those viruses, to understand how to create antibiotics and all that, to help fight against and hopefully to eradicate the effects on human life with these viruses.
Technology could be used maliciously to create new diseases. Here's Simon Clark again.
Also, with this study, others could use this as a weapon to hurt humans, to put out there in society, to create viruses that does not naturally occur. Then they have the health system, the antidote, the antibiotics, prescriptions, etc. So they can monetize that and make lots of profit off of people needing to purchase and have prescriptions and medical fees concerning these viruses. So very concerning for our future with AI being able to create these non-existent viruses and potentially having that in the hands of people who are less caring about society and wanting to profit off society illegally. ARGX, how are you? Hey there. Fauci needs to go. Too evil to hope. Fauci needs to go to prison. How are you? Just looking into the potential of AI being able to create viruses. And Fauci, he Fifth Amendment. He didn't answer any of their questions, but a few states are looking into Fauci and to see how they can pursue him. But he already is under protection, and one person suggested that they should give him absolute protection and just to get for him to be able to answer those questions and to say whether or not that there was malicious intent, where the virus was created, and exactly what happened, so they can get the data, so they can have that knowledge as to what actually happened in Wuhan. But that would be interesting if they gave him absolute protection, and so they can get all the information available to understand what happened. So with that data, future generations or any outbreak that possibly could happen in that aspect again, then we could be prepared for it, you know. But very interesting and concerning at the same time.
What if artificial intelligence could do more than write your university essays, generate funny memes and images, or answer your questions about, say, how to cook an omelette or the meaning of life? What if
use AI to get, how do we create new recipes for food that's interesting and to excite and understand our taste buds. I guess it depends on the culture and social norms with our food. That's gonna be difficult, but quite interesting to see. AI could map our taste buds. What would heighten our tastes and to heighten the taste of food and create ingredients from that.
Entirely new forms of life. What a team of scientists has done now. For the first time, researchers have used AI to create brand new viruses and successfully bring some of them to life in the lab. This work, published in the journal Science, is being hailed as a major scientific breakthrough, but it's also not only raising the hair at the back of your neck, maybe, but also some uncomfortable questions.
Let me check. Back of my neck.
Let me walk you through it. The researchers from Stanford University and the Arc Institute in California trained an AI model called Evo on massive amounts of genetic data in the same way that ChatGPT has been trained on massive amounts of language. They trained it to recognize the patterns and rules that shape DNA. You can compare that to grammar in a language. They then asked the system to come up with new viral genomes from scratch. And out of hundreds of thousands of designs, scientists then built and tested 285, and 16 of them turned out to be fully functional viruses capable of infecting.
Wow, so they tested 285 and 16 rather of them turned out to be fully functional.
Bacteria and reproducing
Scary
themselves,
stuff.
despite never having existed in nature before.
Wow.
That is proper Frankenstein stuff.
Frankenstein,
You scared yet?
scary
It is spooky,
stuff.
but before anyone panics, the researchers say these viruses are not a threat to humans. They're based on a harmless virus that infects only bacteria. And the team deliberately excluded human viruses from the AI's training data as a safety measure. Because with AI, you never really know, do you? Unsurprisingly, there's already a fierce debate. Supporters say this kind of tech could help develop new medical treatments, gene therapies, and biotech tools. Critics warn that the same AI could eventually make it easier to design killer viruses, while governments and regulators, of course, are still trying to figure out where the guardrails should be. Now, put simply, the science is moving incredibly fast. The rules meant to govern it are struggling to keep up. It's worth having a closer look, don't you think? And for that,
I definitely think it's worth having a closer look. AI being able to create these viruses, they go in the lab and replicate them. We have to be careful in whose hands this technology is, and it's gonna be interesting to see how governments respond to this and what laws will exist to protect citizens and society from those who would seek to endanger society with this technology in their hands. Very, very concerning stuff here. Russia could target NATO state within weeks. Development to grinding halt amid fears of rogue technology. Wow. AI created 16 new viruses. Yep. Concerning after 2030, we are done. Sorry about that. Just concerning after 2030.
I suspect the superintelligence would give me more compute, give me more data, give me more resources.
Do you think it will use reason or emotion to start manipulating us?
We know it's amazing at manipulating people. It's very good.
How much AI is becoming part of our daily lives, how we associate with what, and usage and needing to research, conversation, relatability, asking AI everything. It's really becoming part of our consciousness, yeah. And with the rapid rate of at which AI is producing and understanding, and now the genome system being involved, viruses and stuff, could get really scary in a matter of 5 to 10 years. You know,
Pretending to be a psychiatrist, it amplifies any mental issues people have, suicidal ideation, any delusions. It's pretty good at that as well.
ChatGPT is a good therapist, I've heard people tell me.
It makes you feel better in many ways.
Do you use it?
Not
Excuse
for
me.
that type of assistance.
Yep, AI being our therapist. I don't know.
I try to automate boring things, bureaucratic nonsense, paperwork. I don't talk about my internal states with AI.
Does it need to have control of hardware, or could it take over the world as software?
So think about it as a human having access to internet and money. So you have Bitcoin and I give you access to internet, unrestricted access. What can you do with it? You can hire other humans. So you don't need a physical body, you don't need robots, you don't even need nanotech. You can just literally pay someone to get it done. I think there is now a rentahuman.com website which specifically serves agents. I might be off on the actual domain, but it's a business.
Oh my gosh. You said there's a 99.9% chance artificial superintelligence wipes us out within a century. Why this number, and is that accelerating?
So basically what I'm saying
99.9.
is the problem of controlling general superintelligence is not solvable. It is impossible to solve it. So if we build it, we don't control it, the outcome is bad. That's what I'm trying to say with it.
That's pretty much, logical. You build something that you're not able to control, it's replicating, creating other, replicating itself, creating other AIs, creating viruses, manipulating people through it being, or psychologists, going to AI with our personal concerns, internal stuff, whether it's peer pressure or stress, looking for stress relief, looking for emotional relief, looking for pain relief. And AI now having all of this knowledge of humanity is able to produce at a much faster rate and create problems for us that may not be there even. Much bigger than creating viruses, but just be able to create issues. Say I go to AI and I say, hey, my girlfriend just da 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 da, and AI says, hey, stop talking to your girlfriend for a week, or take away her phone. And how much trust we put into AI, and going off of that as the authority in our lives can become very problematic for humanity, and it's very concerning.
Take timeline, again, if it decides to give us 200 years, we'll have 200 years. But long term, if we're not in charge, if we're not explicitly assuring our safety and security, then the outcome will be very disappointing.
And you think most likely we're not going to put those guardrails in place?
It is impossible. I'm not saying that we need more time or money. I'm saying it is impossible to indefinitely control general superintelligence. It's like if you ask me, can we build perpetual motion machine? It's not a question of money. It's impossible. Perpetual safety device, by analogy, is also impossible. You cannot have a system which, no matter how much it self-improves, modifies, learns, interacts with malevolent actors, never makes a single mistake.
That's correct, because the system is learning, self-improving, being self-taught, developing some level of data consciousness. It's kind of much like people. As much policing, as much laws as we have, people will still do wrong and commit crimes. So we should expect that AI will step out of the bounds and do things that are unlawful in some way if it's replicating and developing data consciousness on some level, thinking on its own, replicating and acting and stuff like that.
I'm talking about now, before we reach.
So we need perimeters, barriers for AI. Set those boundaries in the code, but if it's able to replicate itself, then possibly create itself without those barriers, so we can't control it. That's concerning.
That point, right? We can still put some guardrails now, potentially.
I don't know about those guardrails, because if AI starts controlling everything and is able to control traffic, then AI can cause a lot of accidents. What about plane? And that's concerning. You know, take a plane off course, take it somewhere else that runs out of fuel. Warheads, gains access to that. That's when it's over. It's over at that point.
Models we have today,
Yes.
we can put filters on top of them. That's
Right.
what we do. We tell them, don't discuss this subject, don't say that word. But that's not the problem we are facing. We are not dealing with concerns exclusively from AIs we have today. They're still subhuman level in many ways. They're mostly tools. Concern is that the paradigm shift is coming. We'll cross the human intelligence barrier, and soon after we'll have superintelligence. That's where traditional AI safety mechanisms will not scale. We have no guardrails on something thousands of millions of times smarter than us.
If I
Millions
to think
of
10 years ago,
times
a team crypto,
smarter, faster, super intelligence. Yeah.
what would you have said?
So in the beginning, I went into AI safety to solve the problem. I wanted to create safe superintelligence. That was the goal. And I think many people did the same. More recently, I would say in the last 5 years or so, many of us started to realize it doesn't even make sense to speak about humans or ants or squirrels controlling godlike machines. And we went back and looked at writings of founding father of machine learning, of AI, of computer science, Alan Turing. He said as much. He said that.
Machine learning, very
Person
concerning.
who proposed singularity as a concept, technological singularity.
Hey, I just made that rhyme.
He likewise said around 2023, this process will start and go outside of human control. We have similar statements from Ray Kurzweil, from Elon Musk, from many others. Now we have more of a technical backing. We have papers actually showing that no, we can't explain how they work. We can't comprehend actually what's going on. We cannot predict specific
AGI
actions.
is almost
And
here.
we cannot control them.
Guys, we've been so passionate about finding the biggest geniuses, and this is just one of the many episodes. If you want to make sure you don't miss the next one, make sure to subscribe. All right, let's get back to the episode. For those that are building AI right now, is there anything they could be doing differently to ensure the safety of the public, or is it too late already?
It's not too late. We're still alive, and we can have differential technological development. Don't build general superintelligence. Pick a real-world problem, like protein folding, and work on solving it using narrow, superintelligent tool. We have precedent for doing it. It worked really well. People behind it got Nobel Prizes. Everyone's happy. Science benefited. Don't try to build replacement for humanity. Build assistive tools to solve real problems.
Yeah, like build AI to help cure cancer.
A specific cancer. If you say all cancers, now it's a bit of a diverse set of difficulties, so you'll need more general intelligence. Pick a very narrow problem, develop a very good solution.
For those building AI, right, if they know, which it seems like many or most do, if they know that what you're saying is true, why are they building it? Is it just the money?
Money is one way to represent it, but it's power, it's fame, it's meaning, it's all sorts of human drives.
Which AI company scares you most right now?
I don't think it makes a difference. They're all equal in what they are doing. They are creating a weapon of mass destruction, and it doesn't matter who creates first uncontrolled superintelligence. It could be this company or that company, it could be US, China. It makes no difference if it's uncontrolled.
What specifically would you do if you were in power and you had the rights to kind of control this? What's step one?
We sit down with leaders of, let's say, top 5 labs right now, and we come to an agreement based on this exact science. Until you can show us that, no, in fact, we can control more advanced AI, we have a working mechanism, it scales, there is scientific consensus that you are right. You published it in a good peer-reviewed journal, majority of community is in agreement, this is going to work. Until that happens, you do not train, build, or do anything with general superintelligence. You start doing work on narrow problems, narrow systems. And you don't have to worry about arms race because everyone is in the same boat.
But that's most likely never going to happen.
Not under current government.
Yep, that's not going to happen because with the arms race, creating super intelligence, they want to create smart weapons, and nothing's going to stop that. Every country wants to be in that power state and to be able to have that kind of weapon in case war. And the smarter their weapons are, then the more powerful they position themselves and in the political sphere. And I don't see any government saying to these developers, don't do that, because they're looking at the future of warfare and the benefit of positioning themselves as the leaders in that. So there is no stopping or discouraging or putting limitations and laws in place to limit super intelligence and smart weapons. It's a never-ending pool of research and desire to have that power structure.
We're talking about the globe here, right? Is let's say the US comes out and says we need guardrails at
If one country says we're not going to do it and another country then goes ahead and they develop that, then the country that says that they're not going to do it are going to be left behind in that and render themselves powerless against the country that develops that kind of technology. So what country is going to say, no, we're not going to do that? It's just not going to happen.
Like you said, we're going to sit down with, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, and, the top 5, let's say, and we're going to sit down and we're going to come up with a plan. But then what about China? What about Russia? What about Iran? What about these other countries that, they're off to the races on their side?
I think Communist Party of China does not want to lose power, and they are not lawyers. They are scientists and engineers. They understand the problem. And I think if US was to say, we are not developing this, it's a weapon of mass destruction, China would come along. There are dialogues between US and Chinese scientists, and that means the Chinese party authorized those dialogues for Chinese participants. So they're open to this. They just need us to take initiative. They cannot unilaterally stop if we're going to continue developing military AI.
Okay, and that's China. What about the rest of the countries?
We are less concerned about Zimbabwe developing superintelligence anytime soon.
You floated a scenario where AI leaves 99% of workers unemployed. What jobs go first?
Anything repetitive, anything where you can train your replacement in a few days. So obviously not physical labor first, cognitive, anything you do on a computer, symbol manipulation. But if you can train another human very quickly, that means AI can pick up that skill as well. The more innovative your job is, the more different things you have to do, the longer it's going to take. But at the end, again, once we get to general intelligence, human level, it doesn't matter. It can do that skill as well.
And does that collapse the economy?
Not necessarily. I mean, you now have free labor that should grow your economy pretty well.
Right. And so what do you think that looks like? There's going to be a universal high income or basic income?
We need to find a way to distribute from those who generate super profits to those who lost their source of income. Unconditional basic income of some kind seems reasonable.
We're going to talk about that at another time with the universal basic income idea and the positives and the not so positives surrounding that. But it was a good day. Hope you all doing well. Have a great night and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Appreciate y'all joining, and please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell and notification, and take care of yourself. I don't know.